I think the changes might affect us as a team because some teams are going to be weaker than before. For example, Copenhagen Wolves, they lost 2 of their main players. And they'll take some time to get the teamwork together, to get into it again. So like the first couple of weeks, some teams are going to be weaker, some teams are going to be stronger.
From our
I got it.
But first, let's break down Millennium's very strong win in that last game. And starting with picks and bans, late game components coming out from both sides.
Yeah, I really feel like Millennium got everything they wanted. Red side, it almost felt like they predicted the first pick Kassadin. So Rocket grabbed Kassadin, but then they lost Jax and Thresh. Thresh is still, in my mind, Vander's best support. And from there on, Millennium just rounded out the rest of the composition. They had strong late game. They had champions that could split push, champions that could find picks. It was a well-thought-out pick and ban phase.
And even going back to the spring split, Millennium were one of the few teams out there that says, we can counter Kassadin. We know how to do it. And well, I guess Fizz coming out there, we saw him do some amazing big plays in that game.
Yeah, actually, a lot of big plays coming out all around, especially that one with the Thresh Lantern. And we also had a tweet coming in about that one at ADC only. Whoa, that Lantern by J-Ree was definitely an hashtag LCS big play to save his ADC and get him in the kill. Insane. We're actually going to take a look at that clip right now because Trevor, you had something to say about that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that play. If we pull it up onto your screens, I want to break down just some of the decision making because it starts off here with Creatine playing quite aggressively. Let's roll the clip out. And I want you to notice that he's in what looks like a 1v2. He knows he can get the tower, and look at the support coming from J-Ree as well as Cotnex. He's coming from the river. So Creatine is calling and telling the rest of his team, hey, I'm here. And unfortunately for Jankos, he just gets caught up by that hook. You could say he didn't believe that the rest of the team were going to be there. And that was a definite big play.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to Jankos, he came in behind, he'd landed the Sonic Wave, and he every right in a 2v1 situation to take that, hit the Q, follow through, and then he was like, 3v1. That was the start of a downfall for Jankos in that game.
The problem for me was that that happened over and over and over and over.
You'd make the same play?
Millennium just kept finding kills. They got first blood, which led to a 6-minute dragon. They then did the tower dive. Kerp then just started roaming, blowing people up. Millennium outclassed absolutely everybody on the side of Rocket that game.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how Millennium have started in this one. Think of 2013 Summer Split, starting off at DreamHack, how they started off 4-0 in Super Week. Is the dream real? Can they follow on? They were top as alternate for 7 weeks during that summer. Let's not forget, let's not rule Millennium out because even though they had a bad spring, summer could be different.
Yeah, absolutely. And the most symptomatic, I think, is that they closed out the game so quickly, something that I don't think we've almost ever seen when it was over
Absolutely
in the spring
not.
split.
No, definitely not. And it is a testament to Millennium playing better. They have been getting better and better since Cotnex settled in. I mean, you can't deny that fact. I do also want to highlight Rocket played poorly. I don't think individually they did well. I think their composition took far too long to hit a power peak or a power plateau. They couldn't deal with Thresh, they couldn't deal with Kha'Zix in the early mid-game, and they sure as hell couldn't deal with Kerp on Fizz.
And back to the original point is the fact that they got pretty much every pick they'd want. I mean, a Jax, a Lucian, Thresh. Yeah. You couldn't get better than that. Cotnex on Kha'Zix was champion that it was basically known for towards the end of the split. They got everything they wanted. Let's see how it carries on.
We will see that indeed, but at the top of the show, we asked you guys at home something as well. We asked you, which player do you think will make the biggest impact on their team this split and why? And here are just some of the tweets you sent in. The first one is from @DanK92. I really think that Mr. Raleigh will be a badass in this split with a new support.
So am I. He's on Vuvuzela Lovers 420, which is my fantasy team. I'm sincerely hoping he plays well. Look, he had great stats last year. I also feel it's a little harsh to say Mixer was a bad support. It's implied. Because Mixer had great aggressive plays. And if it wasn't for him there, Mr. Oz couldn't have got a lot of the kills that he did. We'll see what We Will Failure can do, because he was also subbed out last year. Mithy replaced him, so he's got big shoes to fill, and there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders.
Yeah, very interesting. We, of course, will be seeing that duo in action a little later today. The second tweet is from @LolCanoe. Kano, I don't know. Jess's underrated mid laner who really helped to bring the team up to the summit pre-playoffs. Huge promise for summer. What do we make of this first game?
So normally D-Man would answer, but again, Vuvuzela Lovers 420. My starting mid laner didn't get off to the greatest of games. Was ganked multiple times. Unfortunately, camped somewhat, but he made it count towards the end.
He ended up like 4-3-1, so it's all worked out in the end.
Yeah, he justified it, that it was all in the plan. The last one is from @TK's League. I think Jankos will have the biggest impact on his team. When he gets his Azes and Overpower going, Roccat looks scary. Well, that's a little ill-timed.
Well, it's a little harsh after the game. I think he ended up 0-5 or 0-6-1. Ordinarily, though, you look at the spring split, the stats he had, he was fantastic, and really he was the man that made plays. And as we saw there, that play could have worked out well. They were 2v1, got in a great position behind Creaton, but it wasn't to be. We'll see how it works out for him.
It was only game one for them, of course. And you guys at home, you can always join in the conversation with us at LOL Esports. And remember, of course, to use that hashtag LCS. Now, have you ever wanted to assemble your own squad of League of Legends pro players and call the shots yourself? Now you can. Fantasy LCS allows you to build a dream team from North American and European players and take them into competition against your friends. Head over to fantasy.lolesports.com where you can find everything you'll need to know about creating a league, drafting players, and chasing victory as you earn points depending on how your players perform in the LCS every week. And well, that's certainly something we've been doing here as well. Heated discussions actually upstairs, but we'll see how it evolves. But now we're ready to get into game 3, so let's things back over to Joe and the Fish Show.
Thank you very much, Shocks. And it is time for our third match as the Copenhagen Wolves and their 2 new players take on an unchanged alliance. The Wolves have some big changes for the summer split with Amazing and Forgiven no longer in the lineup. They've been replaced by Airwax in the jungle and Woolite at AD carry.
Yeah, so the Wolves said goodbye to Forgiven, the AD carry with the highest average CS in the league at 380. And Amazing, who had the highest kill participation in both EU and NA, with 79.1% throughout the entire season. He was the star on Copenhagen Wolves, and the early games were often completely decided by Amazing himself. Airwalks, he has some very big shoes to fill. And his champion pool, it's a bit the same as Amazing's, but while Amazing was a carry jungler who would then focus on farm and kills for himself, Airwalks is actually more of a team player. He rarely taxes the lane after ganks, and he will focus on getting his laners ahead over himself. So this means now Youngbuck and Coulthard really need to take the extra gold they get and use it to carry and help the team.
And Woolite played for Denial, of course, in the promotion tournament against the Copenhagen Wolves. It was also their sub for the entire split.
Yeah, so of course he knows some of the tactics, and he was the carry on Denial, and he's shown great mechanics and very good laning phase. The same as with Airwalks, actually, he will need to perform from the start because he replaces Forgiven, who was considered by many to be one of the top 80 carries in Europe.
And they, of course, face an Alliance team that would be looking to build on what was a solid first split for them. While they had that bumpy start in the start of the spring split, they did even things out and made the playoffs pretty easily. But their losses to Fnatic and Roccat were undoubtedly disappointing for them.
Yeah, and I would agree that a 4th place in the last split has to be disappointing when you look at the players Alliance has on their lineup. However, we need to remember they were a new team coming into the season, and they had to find synergy, they had to fix the shot calling before we really started to see them perform well. So they actually ended up with a strong enough showing in the end of the split, and then they lost this very close series to Fnatic with 2-1 in the semifinals. However, the shot calling improved, but was still lackluster. I mean, it wasn't good enough, and the team, they really relied on strong individual play instead of winning on playing the map. So now they've picked up 2 new analysts, which should hopefully help them fix some of their shot calling and rotation issues. And we need to see how good they can be.
I think a lot of people are tipping Alliance to be one of the stronger teams coming into the summer split.
We do too.
Yeah, can't disagree with that one whatsoever. Let's check out the starting lineups for this one, though. On the blue side of this game will be the Copenhagen Wolves with Youngbuck in the top lane, new jungler Airwax, Coulthard in the mid lane, Woolite the AD carry, and Unlimited the support.
On the red side, we have Alliance. Wicked is in the top lane, Sugar's in the jungle, Froggen as the mid laner, Taps on AD carry, and of course Nif is his support.
So as we move towards champion select then, let's talk a little bit about what these 2 teams are going to be favoring.
Well, at least I know I dare to predict 1 ban from Copenhagen Wolves. In the last 10 games of the last split, they banned Nidalee. Every single game.
Yeah.
Froggen has played it. Last split, he's shown he's a very strong Nidalee player. I would expect it to be one of the bans. And then we need to see if they want to target someone like Shook, maybe to try and make it a little bit easier. The jungle pressure goes down a little bit here, so Airwax can get a good start. I think Woolite is going to be fine in the bottom lane. I think he's a very strong AD carry, and I think him and Unlimited together, once they get some synergy, will be able to do as well as Forgiven and Unlimited as a lane, at least. Therefore, I don't think they need to necessarily focus too much on him here. I think it's more about the jungle, make sure he gets a good start, and let's see what the soul laners can do with some extra farm.
And that was the strategy last season for every team, at least at the start, against Alliance. Aim things at Shook. We talked about him at the start as this wonder kid that everyone really was looking forward to seeing coming out into the game, into the tournament, and saying, okay, he's going to do well for them. Froggen had bigged him up so much, I think, that there was a lot of pressure on him, and it seemed like targeting Shook may have been the key to the victory there.
And I'm pretty sure I just saw Nif with some papers. Clearly with some picks and bans things here going on. He's actually reading them right now, so we need to see how much the analyst for Alliance can do. Clearly, they've been preparing something. We never saw them do this in the last split.
Wicked also had some papers. I think
it's probably just a drawing he made.
Probably just says Irelia on it.
Yeah, Irelia.
Give Irelia, please. No, but that's an encouraging sign. I mean, we said before, and Alliance said it themselves. Froggen said that they'd
Look, he's showing his drawing.
Yeah, everyone likes your drawing of Irelia, Wicked. It's quite realistic, I heard. But the fact is that everyone, he's got two drawings, okay?
Putting them together.
No, but he's definitely got a list of champions there. Whether all of them say Irelia on them is one thing or another. We'll have to find out about that. Should also realize, funnily enough, that the first game of the spring split for both these teams was against each other, which the Copenhagen Wolves did come out on top on. Doesn't seem like there's much paperwork over with the Copenhagen Wolves right now. They obviously have a clear plan set out for them. And that's the thing, and we mentioned this in our earlier games today, that when you've had this break, you know your first four fixtures. The first game in particular, always important to get off to a good start. They've had so much time to prepare for this specific match.
And the first game is where you have your key picks ready. You test them out. Do we win this first game? We keep playing them. Do we lose it? Is it because of one of the picks going in here? So the very first game, for pretty much every team, is always the one where you have the most prepared for. It's the one you're thinking forward to. You think, oh, we're going to play Alliance tomorrow. Normally they do this, this, and this. Froggen is insanely good in the mid lane. I don't like playing against him. How do we counter it? Like, it's all, you keep thinking about this very first game. Because obviously if you keep thinking about the next few games, you won't be focused enough for the first one here. So it's all about this very first game. So we need to see what Copenhagen Wolves can bring in. I'm just happy that Alliance at least had some papers.
And especially since last season, we had this whole trend, which wasn't really a factual trend, but it worked out statistically that Alliance were great when it came to even numbered weeks. They, of course, lost every single game in their first Super Week. Went 0-4, then won the next two, and it took them ages until they really found a point. Funnily enough, that point did come mid-season where they managed to win 8 games in a row, actually. Funnily enough, then losing out to Fnatic to, kind of settle a bit of a score on that one as to who could get the longest run going undefeated in the league. And I think it seems kind of obvious to say that a good start for every single team here is really what they're aiming for. I want to point out, though, just going back to our last game, Millennium, who, of course, finished last in 8th position in the spring split. They actually won their first game as well in the spring split, but that didn't quite hold true for them through, and that was their whole problem, right? The whole consistency thing, as it has been for both the Copenhagen Wolves, who themselves had a great mid-season kind of period, had a time where they went 4 games undefeated. So finding consistency, I think, here in Europe is definitely the name of the game, and probably the reason why we saw so many ties over the last couple of splits, that most, if not all, of these teams were struggling to find a consistent run.
100%.
We're going to get into picks and bans here, though, and we see that Irelia's vision, Wicked's vision that he quite nicely noted on paper has come true. Ban on Irelia, LeBlanc taken away there as well against Froggen. On the other side, Jack's taken away, Twitch taken away. Woolite in the challenges here, he played a lot of Twitch.
He also played against Copenhagen Wolves in the spring promotion. He was very strong. So it's been banned in every single game so far. People really know how strong Twitch is in the current meta. That's why they banned away. Casted in as well, being a ban. Instant first pick from Copenhagen Wolves, though.
Yeah, Yasuo in there, like casted in, as you said. Yasuo, a champion that Kaltard has actually played a couple of times in here. What do you think to it, though, as a blind first pick?
Well, as a blind first pick, laning-wise, you're actually very strong. And he fits well with... There's so many new options as well for knock-ups. If you look at champions who's been buffed, like Jarvan was buffed, they can log in a jungle Jarvan, you have the knock-up there to synergize with his ultimate, so there's a lot of options for him to do well, get a comp built around him. And then Kautar actually has been very good whenever he actually played Yasuo. He's been very good. And also it's been banned a lot of times against Froggen. So not only do they first pick it, they also use it basically to say, we're not going to give it over or risk giving it over to Froggen.
And funnily enough, when these two teams played in the playoffs, actually, Yasuo first game was the choice for Kautar there as well. Other side though, let's talk about Alliance here first as Yorick gets locked in. Lucian and Lee Sin, the first two picks. Let's just go straight to Yorick.
Yeah. I think Yorick is the key here. It's going to be jungle Yorick. I'm 99% sure. Airworks, he's the wild card. You don't know exactly what he plays. He's new to the LCS, of course, to the real professional scene. Now, if he's pulling out, if it's actually going to be the jungle Yorick here, which I still hope it's going to be, and then you can see either Lulu support for Unlimited or Lulu mid for Kautar, and maybe Youngbuck will take the Yasuo up in the top lane.
Well, if it is a jungle Yorick, there's only one real person in the past that's played much jungle Yorick, and that is our good friend Alan, or Lovelin, as of course he was previously known before that whilst he was playing in the jungle. We'll see where that one goes in the end, and go back to Alliance here, because it looks like they're going to get themselves a Lucian Thresh lane, along with that Lee Sin for the jungle, and it seems like Shyvana will be the choice here for Wicked in the top lane with his Aurelia banned away.
So Alliance, very standard picks all around. Copenhagen Wolves are a lot more exciting to look at.
Wow, that was extremely fast, let's just say that one. Kog'Maw and Zyra, the final two picks here. So I'm just going to throw it out there that Kautar, will he play Lulu mid or will he play Zyra mid? Because he's the guy that does like to play Zyra mid. We're going to see Kog'Maw in here as well for the first time in the European LCS.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw has been a pick over in Korea, which is very strong. They pick it so often. It is a very strong pick, of course. Everyone knows it scales so well into the late game. The issue for him was always the lack of mobility when someone jumps onto you. However, against the likes here over on the Alliance, yes, okay, the Lee Sin and Shyvana will jump towards you, but when you have Zyra's ultimate, when you have Lulu, when you have Yorick, everything around you to protect you, and even if you do die, there's the ultimate from Yorick, you're just gonna get back up. It is gonna be so hard for Alliance to actually kill Woolite in these team fights, so he's just gonna be major pain for them. And the entire thing for Copenhagen Wolves here, either they can disengage heavily with Zyra, with Lulu, protect the Kog'Maw, you can put down his slow by himself, or they can also turn it around and go very aggressive. There's a knock-up from Zyra, knock-up from Lulu, and then Yasuo can just jump in, pick a target, and do a lot of damage onto them. So Copenhagen Wolves, a lot of new picks, new players, a lot of new things here, no papers, they knew exactly what they wanted, instant locked them, and this Zyra pick as well, laning-wise with the Kog'Maw, it's actually a pretty strong lane.
And I kind of looked past Yasuo when I was talking about Lulu or Zyra in the mid lane for Kautar. Of course, Yasuo was their first pick that will, looking like it goes into that mid lane with Lulu top, the Zyra support with Kog'Maw and a jungle Yorick. I'm pretty sure that on NIF, and definitely on Wicked's paper, there was no jungle Yorick written down.
Pretty sure. I mean, Copenhagen also just built around insanely strong team fights in this game here. Alliance, however, they can use the Shyvana to try and split push. They have the Ziggs to stay in the mid lane and just wave clear for days. So they can do this 1-4 split push where Ziggs, Lucian, they siege down the tower. You have Shyvana split pushing one-on-one here. It's going to be hard for Copenhagen Wolves to respond if they fall behind to the split push because Shyvana is very strong one-on-one. But if it comes down to team fights and if Copenhagen Wolves manage to kite them around here, the Kog'Maw pick is going to be key.
Well, with the champions heading out of base, let's see who you guys pick to win this one. With 81% of the vote, it's all been about 80s today for some reason. Alliance leads the Copenhagen Wolves. Also, I'd like to remind you guys that you can get tickets to join us here in Cologne and watch the games live. All you have to do, head over to lolesports.com and click on tickets for all the details. And hopefully see you guys here soon in Cologne. So some very interesting plays I wrote on Twitter before this. I'm so excited to see the new look Copenhagen Wolves. And this is a new look Copenhagen Wolves if I've ever seen one.
We just have to look at the fact the early game for them could be very tricky. I mean, with the Lee Sin coming in, paired up with Shyvana or with the Ziggs in the mid lane, 2-on-2 wise, they're going to be very strong in these fights. Bot lane wise, of course, Thresh Lucian is a very strong lane, very safe lane. So Alliance, they really have the option to pull ahead early game here if they play aggressive, get the lead, get some good farm onto Wicked so he can start split pushing, and then with Froggen and Taps being the 2 carries who can just farm from distance or siege down the tower very easily. So it can backfire horribly for Copenhagen Wolves with the comp they built here. It could also really surprise Alliance.
So here we go then, into game. Very interested to see how this one all kicks off. Just to remind you, we are on 4.7 here, which means that those trinkets already up and available. In fact, we're like already using these to get a ward down on the bottom side. And so far we've seen a lot of early warding, but not too much early action, as we'd almost become more used to when it came to 4.6.
I mean, there's been some late invades, but none which really had too big of an impact on the game. Millennium, of course, failed their late invade, but that's actually been about it for the level 1s here. As it goes now, both teams are just scouting away some early wards being popped down. Actually already used 3 wards from Copenhagen Wolves. None of them, though, were placed past the river. So they're just scouting to see if Alliance want to invade on them.
Jungle Yorick. Still, I have to really admit that I wasn't expecting that one to be popping up for us here today. Wax, this would be a real baptism of fire for him if he came into the LCS, picked himself a Jungle Yorick, and managed to lead the Copenhagen Wolves to victory.
It's how you make a name for yourself, instantly.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Yes, it can go both ways.
We'll see. We've still got a lot of time to go in this game. The Wolves, of course, a team which we said over and over again last year, even when they have the lead, they play so carefully. These games that they play regularly, 45, 50-minute long games. We'll see if that's something that they've worked on, or whether with this comp they're quite happily going to go that late in the match. We'll find all that out here as Unlimited is going to head over the top of a ward to get some vision of his own down onto the enemy blue buff. Airwax is going to start off his Copenhagen Wolves career on that Jungle Yorick by trying to steal a blue away. Meanwhile, Alliance doing exactly the same here, but with their AD carry and support.
Yeah, so Shook is only gonna get a red buff for himself. Airwalks picking up the blue here. Alliance, they went for the lane swap. They decided to go for it. They didn't have any vision of Copenhagen Wolves, so it's pretty much a guess for them actually early on. Is it gonna be a lane swap or not? They up in the top lane. Wanted to make sure Lulu couldn't use a lane dominance early on to try and pressure Wicked. So now though, we just see Youngbuck starting the red buff, Airwalks gonna join him in, and Wicked doing the same thing with Shook over here, just farming together, getting some XP. So the same as the lane swap we've seen in the past games.
Standard start here, if we can call Jungle Yorick start anything remotely standard.
He can farm for days, however.
Well, he can farm for days, that's for sure. No problem for him there. Wicked sticking in there. We see that Nif is going to be coming down towards the mid lane. We'll go over the top of a ward here, so Counterhard will spot that one and know that he could be in some possible danger.
Can be a lot of people all of a sudden in the mid lane. Of course, with the slow lane swap now, with the slow pushes up here, you don't need to keep your support with your AD carry because you know he's going to be alone. That's why you can start roaming around. Nif, however, didn't go for the gank yet. And now both Shook and Wicked actually went away from the lane. There's nothing up mid lane. Meanwhile, though, Copenhagen Wolves going very aggressive for the spot lane.
And there's 4 of them there. Even more if you're going to count the ghouls that Airwax is throwing down. And that's a lot of tower damage coming in. At the same time, Youngbuck has prevented pretty much all of the damage onto this top lane, but will they go for a 2 versus 1 dive here? That turret in the bottom lane is going to be going down in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves. They've not gone for anything too aggressive here on Youngbuck.
Nif wanted actually to dive him straight away, but because Youngbuck killed the minion, got the level 2, he decided not to go for the dive. It would have been too risky. Instead, he's waiting for his entire team now to come around. But Copenhagen also just pushing the next tower. Alliance, what are you doing? You're going to give away 2 towers now.
Well, will they? We've got Wicked, who started to actually recall. No, he's not. They're going to actually go in for this one. He started to recall, decided now to come back in. Nif's half recalling, half not recalling. This inner turret is going down here in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves. Alliance going to only get 1 in reply.
So what I like about Copenhagen Wolves' move here
no.
is they actually did the thing Rocket failed to do in the last game. They moved their top lane up here because they knew there was only 1 member pushing the lane. So they forced the line to make a decision. Are we going to take members up there to try and take the tower? Or are we going to put all of them back to defend and therefore not kill the top tower and actually just give a free tower over to Copenhagen Wolves? Now Alliance just decided to do none of it and actually sent every single member up in the top lane to try and take the tower, so nobody was there to defend. And even though they take this 1 tower up here, they still gave away 2 towers now for Copenhagen Wolves. Pretty much for free.
So from Alliance's side now, surely they need to take a leaf out of what we saw at All-Stars, which is Wicked holding and freezing this lane completely on his side of the map now to deny it for probably Youngbuck in the end, because I'm assuming the duo from Copenhagen Wolves is going to head towards this top side of the map here, maybe. Seems that's what he's doing right now.
Big mistake actually from Copenhagen Wolves in the push. You just talked about how Wicked wants to freeze it. The cannon minion arrived after they killed the tower, and they didn't get it pushed all the way into the next tower from Alliance. So the cannon minion from Copenhagen Wolves is alive, and they will keep this wave pushed in favor of Wicked, so he can just freeze it for a long, long time. You see the cannon here. Now the new cannon finally arrived, so actually it's gonna push now back towards them. Wicked also killed quite a lot of minions. I just have my camera on him over here. Decided to kill pretty much 5 minions by himself, so I actually didn't want to freeze it, even though we just talked about he could freeze it.
Well, one thing that looks to be certain here is the Copenhagen Wolves coming back towards this bottom side, sticking as a trio with the AD carry support and the jungler going straight in towards this dragon. There's no one remotely close from Alliance. That's the first dragon in the game going over. 2,000 gold lead for the Copenhagen Wolves.
Very, very strong start. The top lane tower is still alive. However, Youngbuck is all alone, trying to defend it against 2 members now. Alliance should be able to actually push it down unless Woolite can get up there in time to try and defend. He needs to be very fast though, and he's moving as fast as he can. You just talked about though, dragging it over to Copenhagen Wolves. They're punishing Alliance for the bad start. And here's a hook.
Flay and a hook coming in. There's no Flay obviously after that though to keep Youngbuck in position, and he will use his flash to actually get back to the safety of his turret. Woolite now is coming in as well, so we'll see if they can hold this turret. It's so very low. One or probably 2 auto attacks there will finish things off. In fact, the minions might be able to do that work themselves. And Tabs does go in there and takes down the turret. First one back here for Alliance.
Yeah. Even at the lantern for safety in case you should got in there, got the tower down. So this Alliance take a tower, but they still lost 2 and they gave away the dragon as well to Copenhagen Wolves. Wicked though picked up quite a lot of farm with this wave. He decided to stop freezing up in the top lane and actually push it by himself. So he could push it down towards here, but Youngbuck, just teleported down and picks up the wave.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of farm here to himself. Should he get all that farm? Obviously not always a given there. And that actually brings him within 2 CS of Wicked's total there as well. They've seen that Wicked has backed away as well because they had those wards in from earlier from just after they did that dragon. So they know exactly where Wicked is at this point. Meanwhile, the Copenhagen Wolves duo lane did go to the top side of the map and will be putting down some damage already onto this outer turret. Both Tabs and Nif though are back in. There's a hook coming through, not quite got the range though. That was close.
Very close. Both Kokmar and Syra are very squishy targets, so a hook landing onto them, especially if Shug is nearby, to be a fairly easy kill. Look at though, York is coming in as well here. We could potentially see quite a fight. Wicked as well moving up. Alliance, they want to go for this blue buff. It just spawned for Copenhagen Wolves.
Spotted in there.
Pretty good block.
That was a pretty sick goal block right there. And, well, couldn't obviously chase through there. Good shot. And now that blue buff will be started off. There's a plant giving them a little bit of help, or will he steal away? No, he won't. Shug will just simply smite that one off for a blue buff steal here in favor of Alliance.
And Shug at the moment is very far ahead if you compare the 2 junglers, because he's been farming. He only went top once here to try and help the push, and then he went back to the jungle to farm, where Airboss stayed with his dual lane in the bottom to push it up. So he's behind for now, but remember, of course, with the jungle here, he's going to get more XP. Lower level he is. It's going to be easier for him to actually get back in the game. He's now hit level 5, and just need the level 6 mark. Then York can start to be very useful just by using his ultimate.
Oh, there's the hook coming in on towards Unlimited. The damage going to come flying through, but not really got enough damage at this point of the game to Tabs and Nif to actually finish them off. We'll see how that continues to develop. In fact, Tabs went for the BF sword start here with a longsword second. If you look over on the other side, therefore, Woolite, who's currently a good 25 CS behind, Vamp Scepter and a longsword for him, so not going to be putting out as much damage as that of Tabs.
It's also suffering slight from the fact they had to be in the bottom lane as multiple members to push up, so they didn't get all this farm where Tabs was, of course, just staying in the top lane by himself a lot of times. Nif though, moving towards this mid lane. Yeah, he got his level 6 now, so actually got it very fast after we talked about it.
You can see though, but Lions throwing everything they've got here at this middle turret, but in the end, Minion's going to be destroyed. And they can't keep up with that push. Should give the Copenhagen Wolves time to actually bring their men back in and have that defense going for them. I just want to look at Coutard against Froggen here. 79 to 86 CS. Not at all bad for Coutard, considering the amount of harass and the potency of that harass that the Ziggs can throw down onto him. Also has his static shiv now finished as well.
We need to see if he decides to go for Bladed Rune King as the second item or directly into the Infinity Edge. Over in OGN, most of the Yasuo plays with Bladed Rune King. So make sure you use more survivability, you get stronger in the one-on-one scenario if you decide to split push here. We need to see what Carter decides to do, or if you can just go straight Infinity Edge or go full on for the 100% crit and just try and burst down a target.
Very, very interesting start to this one. The gold has come back somewhat, 1400 is the difference here at this point in time. Still in favour of the Copenhagen Wolves with those Dragon pickup. And of course the 2-to-1 advantage when it comes to towers. No kills as of yet. As you mentioned though, Airwax now up to level 7. That's a funny thing about this Copenhagen Wolves team. Even after death, they've still got quite a bit of potency in there with Cogmore in there with Zyra. Because they'll put down a lot of damage even after you're dead.
Pretty much the entire lineup of Copenhagen Wolves wanted to get this level 6 point because their ultimates are huge in the team fight. Zyra as well. Unlimited is the only member who didn't get his ultimate yet in the game. And we actually saw him trying to leash some XP from the Wolf camp when Kauta did them just to try and get this level 6 point as fast as possible. He needs it before this Dragon. The Copenhagen Wolves want to try and team fight for it.
Knock-up party for Coutard is going to be what they're looking for there. And at the moment, Youngbuck is the man that's actually trying to get the vision control for the Wolves on that bottom side of the map. But 30 seconds to go, Youngbuck spotting the pink ward here. Is he going to be able to get it in time? Well, of course he will, because he can still see it, but loses his ward as well on top of it. A good little scan as well coming out there from Nif, just to make sure, actually from Froggen, just to make sure that they could get that one away. But the Wolves are in position already here. Cogmore, the only one that's not really there. He's still in that middle lane. Let's not forget also that Wicked has teleport, is still on the bottom side, but Tabs is the one that's not there.
He's in the top lane, so Copenhagen Wolves can just start this Dragon up easily for them. Multiple members are there. Alliance, they're actually moving in towards him. Will they try and stop it? They're only 4 members.
No, not fast enough there. And I don't think they even had the timing on it, by the way, from that last pickup, because it was done with 3 men and a little bit sneakily from the Wolves. That gives them 2 out of 2.
Very true. The timer, of course, could have been an issue, but I don't see a reason to keep your AD carry in the top lane when you know there's a chance of the Dragon spawning within just a minute. I mean, you have teleport on your top lane, and he should be the one up there, so you can always join in. That should have been the bot lane, because he didn't actually get anything up top. He farmed a little bit, pushed the wave down. Woolite now walked all the way up and just picks up all the farm.
Well, did get himself some farming. That one still remains ahead of Woolite at this point, and still we are yet to see a kill coming down in this matchup as Youngbuck trying to put down some damage. Actually, Wicked's going to throw his ulti in here. Didn't really do all that much apart from clear out the wave.
But we did see the damage from Youngbuck onto Wicked. He barely touched him. I mean, he did EQ, a few auto attacks. Wicked can easily tank it up, and he's not even very tanky yet, only got the giant spell so far. It's going to be so hard for Youngbuck to deal with Wicked later on. The more tanky Wicked becomes, he's going to be able to out-sustain him. He's going to be able to just push the wave every single time. Both of them got teleport, of course, so they can join in for fights, but Wicked will have the pressure at least in the split push.
So blue buff spawning on the Wolves side of the map again, and it's going to be another steal for them. Froggen this time will be the one picking that one up. The Wolves have 3 men in that mid lane. Airwax continuing to clear things out. Will they be able to hold on to the enemy blue buff once again, or will Alliance actually make a challenge on it this time? Up until now, they're keeping the pressure up on that middle lane, which is not really taking all that much damage. Kind of hard to as well when you've got the Yasuo, so you obviously get right up there, close and personal. But this is the blue buff I was talking about. They've got vision of it this time around. There are 4 men there from the Copenhagen Wolves. You see how much they're really relying on this one. Froggen tries to get in there for the steal, but a little bit slow on that front, and actually was blocked by the windfall either way in the end. It's Airwax that gets that.
So Alliance is doing a good job taking the blue buff away from Copenhagen Wolves, but every single time Copenhagen Wolves just walk straight to their blue buff, and they end up trading them 1 for 1. None of the teams were in a position to stop the other one, so no advantage gained. So far they just been farming away, and first blood of course didn't even happen yet. We still need to see how it's going to happen now with the very first team fight, or if Alliance even want to go for a team fighter now, or they just want to continue farming and then group up at some point with 4 members and leave Wicked to split push and then force Copenhagen Wolves into decision where do they go 5 members mid and just start a team fight, or do they try and kill Wicked in the bottom?
Oh, with that last Dragon that went over to the Copenhagen Wolves, we saw the return of a 2,000 gold lead in favour of the Copenhagen Wolves. So they're staying pretty constant on that front, keeping up with the farm in that mid lane. The AD carries, that's starting to kind of grow a little bit, but you see there, because of the global gold, Elwax remains very slightly ahead on that front.
Very, very slightly. Taps picked up so much farm because he was just staying in the top lane. He's actually keeping up fairly well. Late game wise though, we all know Kog'Maw is an outscale Lucian. Lucian is very strong and very good in the late game. Very mobile and everything, brings a lot to the table, but Kog'Maw in the late game, when you have Yorick, when you have Syra, when you have Lulu to protect you, can just do so much. Wicked, he's also going to be forced to just go pretty much straight tank, otherwise he's going to die very fast.
Well, that's exactly where he's gone so far. Sunfire Cape first item, Negatron Cloak picked up second path for him. See where that all works out for him. For the mid lane, as BF Sword was picked up there by Kaltard, so that kind of tells us where he's probably going to be going next in terms of his build. We questioned earlier on, Blade of the Rune King, like we've been seeing a lot over in Korea, or will he go straight in there for the guaranteed crit and go for the Infinity Edge?
So he's just going for the straight up damage. Again, he feels he's able to survive the fight because of this T-Prom, because of the Lulu ultimate as well to help him out, so he can go for this straight damage. But when he's split pushing now, it's going to be so hard for him to kill Wicked as well. Pretty much the same story as Youngbuck, where Blade of the Rune King would mean he could actually go toe-to-toe with him, try and out-sustain him, chase him up, force his ultimate away. Gonna be hard without it. We're gonna see what he can do. Wicked for now, he's just staying back. He doesn't actually want to go duel with. It's very strong down.
Yeah, done a good job here, Cartel. We said that earlier on, that what we've seen him in some... Well, actually, that's a lot of damage coming out from Wicked and Cartel, I think realizing I can't actually fight him right now. I'm going to have a bit of a poke, see what I can do. Woolite got out of position, play into the box as well.
Beautiful.
Woolite's going to go down, and that will be first blood coming in. They do manage to get the ghost there on towards Woolite, but what's he really going to do? I'm not sure that he's got the damage to follow through with a kill onto anyone. He's, of course, just going to go underneath the turret there. Just get his surprise at the end, but that won't be able to do any damage whatsoever. Good first blood there from Alliance, and Nif, brilliant play from him, landing everything that he needs to land.
We've seen this come before. By Alliance, where Shook kicks back a target into Nif, plays him, box, hook, everything, picks up the first blood. Very nice play by both Shook and Nif together to get the first blood, and also the tower in the mid lane.
Move from Alliance, and that right there will bring this goal back to just 1,000 difference. Question is, can they actually challenge this time around for the Dragon? Both of them so far have gone over to the Copenhagen Wolves, as Kautar recall in there. Saw earlier on that he can't quite do much against Wicked at this point, so we'll actually walk away from that one rather than trying to maybe fight his way off from it. Wicked, you have to wonder, already causing a bit of a problem up there, going to be going into that full tank, as you said. Is it going to be, are they going to be able to deal with him as things move on? Actually, Vancept picked up there for Kaltard, so see if he does in fact end up going more towards that Blade of the Ruin King, or whether that BF Sword was just damaged for right now.
Yeah, I mean, so Blade of the Ruin King would do him so much more when it comes to split pusher. He's going to be the guy to stop Wicked. Blade of the Ruin King, of course, has to be one of his items. Could even go for Bloodthirster, but I'm not a big fan of it. And Alliance, even though Copenhagen had the timers on him, now actually Alliance picked up the very free Dragon, and Wicked just stayed in the top lane, didn't have to use teleport.
And there we see the strength of Ziggs as well. Throws his ultimate down, complete wave gone, and the Copenhagen Wolves, despite having 5 men in the mid lane there to try and push down the outer turret, were just completely forced away, having no real answer to keep working their way through from that one.
And this was simply just missed timing by Copenhagen Wolves on the timer, because a few seconds before it spawned, multiple of their members were actually in the base, running away, so they were not in a position to do anything. Woolite had already respawned after the first, but he was in the mid lane farming, but the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves were far away from the Dragon, so mistime it. Therefore Alliance can pick it up, and now doing a lot of damage on this bot tower as well. Taps really just been the guy moving around, killing towers.
Doing really well for himself, and he might be able to get Youngbuck down. He does have wild growth, so maybe getting ahead of myself on that one. Flash was also available for him. And I believe that the first blue buff of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves on their side of the map may have actually gone finally their way, and the same may happen here for Alliance on their side.
So everything is kind of swapped around. Now they get their own blue buffs. Alliance picked up the dragon this time, even though Copenhagen Wolves have been getting the last few dragons. And also Alliance are the team now getting all the towers without any response from Copenhagen Wolves, where at the level 1 scenario, or the early game 1, it was actually Copenhagen Wolves taking the 2 towers. So everything's kind of been swapped around. Copenhagen Wolves are just farming away. They want to go to this point where Cockmore becomes so strong. They want to just try and get to the late game where Alliance now making moves on the map, getting some gold, actually also getting a gold lead.
Actually, Wicked has carved himself somewhat of a lead here when we look down the CS totals, and seems to want to continue that trend here on the top lane. Doesn't have much vision down though, so kind of in no man's land at this point in terms of where the rest of the team may be, and as such he's actually going to recall. I actually believe he's on a decent amount of gold to spend as well, so probably the right time. Feeling not quite so safe up there in the top lane for him to recall back out, get himself a giant spell and a watermail. So he did in fact have quite a lot of money.
He just bought a mana potion as well, then he sold it and bought wards. Shows how often he buys wards when you actually misclicks on the mana potion here, but he's talking about the wards. If you look at the inventory now from Alliance, a lot of wards picked up. Pink wards as well. They want to take control now of the map. Kauton spotting out a pink ward here, won't be able to get it because multiple members trying to stop him.
3 men from Alliance coming down there to keep that pink ward alive, and funnily enough get a pink ward kill of their own there that was placed down by the Copenhagen Wolves. But this is the move, as you said, lots of wards in the inventory, want to get through into the enemy jungle and make sure they have full vision control of that one.
Full vision. There's a lot of sweeping lenses on Copenhagen Wolves, so they can try and clear some of it. But this red buff here, Alliance with 3 members, Kauton is standing right behind him, but he's too far away to actually do anything, and Youngbok took the top tower instead. So they traded the buff for the top tower, for now at least.
For now, and Alliance actually moved. Well, they've got their entire team down on this bottom side of the map now. Wicked is recalling. They're going to try and lock in their counter. Nice. It's a good win wall. Stops the Q coming through, and probably an imminent kick straight back into the rest of the team there. However, will they be able to hold on to this inner turret in the bottom lane? There are the Stranglethorns. Nope, no knock-up this time around.
Just also to clear the minion wave and push Alliance away from the tower now. The 4 members are here to defend. Both top laners can teleport down and join the fight. But Alliance are just doing what they can do with this combo here. They can siege a tower so easy. They can clear, they can poke, and just stay around here and then force Copenhagen Wolves to either try and defend or just straight up engage onto them.
Well, trying his best here with his ultimate to keep them away from things, but Froggen, well, we've seen time and time again how hard it is to hold on to those turrets when Ziggs are just spamming away, getting all the damage down onto you. Again, they scan up in that brush there by the golems. And probably with the next wave just about to get into position, going to start that all over again.
Still 2 pink wards on the side of Alliance. They could have placed them down in the jungle of Copenhagen Wolves to really try and get full vision control here and just continue to push down on this tower. Very nice here. Nuke coming in.
Oh, it's onto Kauton as well. They knock him back. Ultimate comes through. Kauton actually will survive this one just about. There's a lot of damage being thrown their way from that, and Alliance forcing Kauton off. Will that be enough to get them the turret though? The minion wave is so far away right now. Only just passing that middle point as Airwax almost gets hooked by Nif. The minion wave finally does get into position. They need Wicked, because if they don't have him there, they have to wait for this minion wave. He can definitely tank things up by now. We see him actually coming down the backside. A lot of damage coming in, but there is a dive on towards Unlimited. He's gone low. Airwax, is he going to go down? No, not quite. Managing to stay alive, and they're turning it around. They're going to go for shock. Wild growth used. Kauton gets himself one. Wicked is still very low. Wow. And there is the ultimate. That's going to cause problems as Wicked falls to Woolite. And actually, he manages to survive there in the end of Kauton, and Woolite continues to pick up the kills. They're going to slow down Nif to a crawl, and they should be able to make this 4 in a row. Kauton gets that one as well. Not even scared about his low HP.
Way too aggressive by Alliance, diving past the tower here. They could have just stayed, poked away, hit the tower a few times, over and over again. Instead, they went for the fight under the tower and everything. Look here again also. Youngbok actually missed his wild growth. They wanted to knock up, but then Kauton gets a beautiful 3-man knockup with his ultimate as well. Back here, Woolite completely untouched, just dealing damage over and over, getting now a kill off them. Yorick ultimate was gone. It was actually used on the hook before this fight even started, so they didn't even have the Yorick ultimate in this. And yet they just destroy Alliance because I don't know, Alliance. I mean, you dive under the tower against a comp like this, against a Cockmore, you're never even gonna get close to killing him, and we saw Woolite in the end stay back. And also we talked about Yasuo and Kauton. he's very good on this champion.
2-0-2. Now Alliance are looking for an instant dragon and we'll get it down to half HP, but Airwax coming in. Will he be able to smite this one away? He has smite available, but it's Alliance that picked that one up. They look at Wicked there at the backside, but he takes the lantern away. That will be a nice return favor there from Alliance, picking up the dragon after all that chaos. If you look at the goal, it's actually real close, but the Wolves are now onto that turret.
The Wolves are looking for more here. We have almost the last Whisper completed onto Wula. It's going to be a key thing for them to really start team fights. All 5 members are here. All 5 members from Alliance are in the mid lane as well to try and defend from this push here. Copenhagen Wolves for now backing away. Still, they don't mind going even later in this game. The more items they get onto Wula, the better the game is going to be for them. The more items they get onto Kautar, the better it's going to be. So they're not even in a rush to do anything.
Slightly mistimed out there from Youngbuck, was close to stealing away that red buff, but close, not quite enough for them. Blue buff is up on that side, and that Froggen has already taken his away as well. And Alliance now looking for a bit of a counter push. This tells me that despite losing 4 men in that fight, they obviously realized that they made a mistake in it, and they're still confident in pushing.
Very hard for him. Wula clearing out the wave. Syra decent wave as well, at least to stop the minions from coming in, so you can get a lot of damage onto them. Youngbuck is actually the main wave clear. He was up in the top lane here. Teleport is down for him, so he couldn't actually join in. Alliance though, they backed away because the wave died very fast and didn't actually do too much with the push. For now though, both teams very close in goal. We just need to see Wicked go back to split pushing. Or actually now he's very tanky. He could go towards at least the Cutlass to be even stronger in the one-on-one. And then just start split pushing, and then Alliance should focus on straight up team fighting Copenhagen Wolves, but more just poking them and then win on the one-on-one with Wicked versus whoever is going against them.
Couple of big items coming in across the board here, so let's have a look at those for a second. Infinity Edge for Kautar now done. We also see a large rod in there as well for Youngbuck, although that was there a few moments ago. On the other side, Rabadon's done for Froggen, also for Wicked. He's got that Brando in Zoman in on top of his Sunfire Cape, so plenty of armor, but I have to wonder how that's going to protect him in the long run when Bulak goes so untouched there at the back.
And we see what he can do against Kautar here. He's going very aggressive.
Yeah, ultimate used by Kautar. Wicked already down to half HP, and Kautar, I guess, feeling he can't get the kill there anyway, but just testing out exactly how strong he is onto the tankiest member of this Alliance team, and, well, let's be fair, hammered him.
Yeah, well, again, Wicked was just running away actually the entire time. Didn't want to take this fight, so there's a lot of damage for Kautar before the knockup even came in. As well, again, one of the reasons Wicked dropped so low. With a full combo from Kautar, did about 50% onto Wicked here, so he's actually doing quite a lot of damage.
Which means it kills everyone else.
Oh yes, they are gonna die.
See how this one all works out. Currently it's the Wolves with the upper hand. Still only 1,000 gold is the lead that they have, and not even 1,000 if we look there. It's ticking over between 700-800. Constantly seeing Youngbuck actually being the one here to clear out vision around that barren area. Kautar just seeing that wall actually come down right on top of him as well, but funnily enough, it's really been Alliance that have been pushing out more on the map here. They're the ones that have gone past the halfway line more than what we've seen from the Wolves.
They've just been feeling a bit more comfortable, and also Copenhagen Wolves have clearly just said to themselves, we want to go late game, we don't want to force any fights now, we don't want to get caught out of position, so we just stay back and farm. That's why Alliance is full control of the map at least. Kautar now going on to Wicked again.
And he's going to do a lot of damage once again, forces the ultimate out of him. I think it was a little bit more this time around. A couple more auto attacks in there maybe. Rando into ulti was quite Wicked as well. Ultiing away from things, and it's just a little bit of a mini game between those two in that top lane. Although it means that Wicked is really only walking back and forth between base and lane at this point.
I'm not a fan of the magic resist onto Wicked here. If he actually wants to be the split pusher, again, he should focus on getting towards the Blade of the Ruined King, or at least stack full armor, because he knows he's going to be against Kautar. I mean, Youngbuck, even without the magic resist onto Wicked here, won't be able to do much damage to him, will never be able to kill him. So he's building towards team fights, but he's staying to split push at the moment, which is clearly not working for him.
To be fair, his Negatron Cloak did come in second after he'd finished that Sunfire Cape as well, so had that a bit more maybe to have himself more fun in the laning phase. And we are going to see now Wicked saying, okay, can I have a go? Countdown says probably no, you can't, as Chuck going to go very deep from this one. A lot of damage coming in. Woolite actually catching it with his ultimate there at the end. And that is not the Woolite that you're looking for. And that will be a kill for nothing for the Copenhagen Wolves.
So we didn't actually see the start here, but Flash is gone from Chucky. Was the guy who went in aggressive. And then Copenhagen was just kite away, put down the Cyber ultimate and just moved backwards, put down all the slows, do all the damage. And the ulti was straight on to Woolite as well. Didn't even matter because he didn't die, he was not even close. Copenhagen was again showing their comp is so strong in these team fights.
Sounds hard as well in that top lane. We switched away from it for the big fight in middle, but he forced Wicked down to about a quarter of his health. So almost every single time that we see this, it's going further in favor of Kautal. That may now change though. We've seen the chain vest picked up for Wicked in that top lane, but by the time he gets back into the lane, the inner turret goes down. Yeah,
the chain vest itself is not going to be enough for him. He needs to be able to do enough damage back to Kautal to actually be a threat towards him. Otherwise now, Cutlass being picked up. He's going to go now for the Blade Drone King. We talked about it earlier, how strong he's going to make him in the one-on-one. So if he picks up the Blade Drone King now, and Wicked continues to go full tank, it's going to be so easy for Kautal in this one-on-one.
Woolite with his last Whisper, last item picked up for him. He's going to be moving in with the rest of his team towards this mid lane. Outer turret, which is the only outer turret left standing. In fact, the mid lane is the only lane left with turrets, to be fair, outside of the base at least. And the Wolves doing very well on that front. 4-3 up overall. The Dragon is now live as well. It was, of course, Alliance that have been having the control as of late over this Dragon. This time, though, the Wolves well and truly in better position from this one. Will they be able to finish off before Alliance come in? There's the hook landing on towards Kautal. The ulti being thrown down there by Froggen, but the Dragon going down here. It's Airwax who smites that one out in the end. Do they want the fight? Actually, they're very, very low. Shook going to follow through. Airwax going low as well. And there is Wicked diving across. Gets the knock up onto two. They manage to finish off Airwax, but can they get any more? Kautal is right in the middle of them all. Froggen actually getting in there. It's a double kill in the end for Wicked. And Kautal's Ghost won't be enough to actually find them anything. That's 3 kills. Dragon did go over to the Wolves though.
Very, very strong team fight by Alliance, however. First of all, they baited away the ultimate from Unlimited when they tried to engage. Dragon, yes, it went down in favor of Copenhagen Wolves, but with the ultimate gone from Unlimited, you're gonna see it here. He already put down the ultimate, it is now gone. So Copenhagen Wolves, when they try to disengage, they don't have anything to actually lock Alliance away. That's why Alliance can go towards them. Also, look in this top lane. Lulu is just farming away. No teleport. It's 5 members from Alliance. Good ultimate by Wicked. Getting in here with multiple members. Froggen then, it's going to be the target, but he gets away. Now the Baron.
Baron started off. Woolite actually going to be focused very, very low from this. He's doing good damage. Actually, they'll be able to finish off time if he picks the right position. And he gets him half light there from the Lantern, but this Baron is going down. Only Youngbuck is there to do anything about it. He's not going to be able to. Alliance pick up a nice Baron.
Youngbuck, he was the only guy left to try and defend here after the big team fight. I'm still not sure why he didn't even try and teleport down for the last fight. He did actually teleport down, just way too late. His ultimate was still ready. He was not even close to join the fight with the rest of Copenhagen Wolves. Could have tried to turn it around, and instead, Alliance won the fight. Picked up the Baron for this one now, and very, very close in goal.
Oh!
Oh, that was close.
Very close. I think a little bit too close for comfort there for Youngbuck on his portrait there on the top left. Can't really see any health left there in his health bar. I just want to mention that Wicked did turn that chain vest into something. He's now got himself a Thorn Mail. Also got himself the Spectre's Cowl. So going to be a little harder now to finish him off.
100%. And also, yeah, teamfight-wise, he's going to be this mega tank in front of you. We saw him before. He just flashed over the wall, used his ultimate against 4 members, and he just tanked it up. He wasn't even close to going down. So the build works for him as long as he can get the teamfights going. We need to see how it works though, with Copenhagen Wolves being all 5 members there. Youngbuck not staying in the top lane to farm while the Dragon was going on and then while the fight was going on. Because so far in the game, it's actually been pretty much teams punishing the other one when they were out of position. First it was Alliance with the dive in bot lane, then it was now Alliance punishing Copenhagen Wolves for being out of position at the Dragon.
I'm going to ask you at this point, just over half an hour in, what do we think to jungle Yorick?
Well, I mean, as a jungle pick itself, it's not exactly one who goes in and just kills people left and right in the early game in the ganks. But teamfight-wise, when you have a Cockmore, it's of course going to be very, very strong. But the pick itself, it's not exactly one where you solo carry a game.
Well, certainly proving that way so far.
Unless, of course, you are Alan and you play for OMG against Lemon Dogs in Worlds last year.
Yeah, it's pretty. So, yeah, I think, as you said, that he worked in there with the Cogmore. You talked about early game ganks, which basically don't exist for a jungle Yorick. We'll see about that, because we're way past that point, and it's to the point where his skills are certainly going to excel. That's a good wing wall coming down to actually block the entire culling coming out of Tabs. Trying his best to actually get in there. Wicked can tank turrets all day at this point in the game.
Tank it and just poke away with Froggen and Tabs. A lot of damage already to do down. Airworks is down to 60%. He has a blue buff, however. Trying to sustain some of it. Youngbuck took quite a lot of poke as well. Copenhagen need to be careful, don't get poked too much, because nobody from Alliance is taking any damage.
A knockout there from Froggen, throwing in his satchel charge, and there is the move forward with those minions there. Airworks completely forced out of the fight, and that is the turret going down. He needs to heal up and come back here pretty quickly, because Alliance, the damage that they've taken with that Baron buff on, just regen up quickly.
They can just keep doing this over and over with the Lucian. Keep poking away, Wicked tanking the tower, get a few 50% on this tower instantly just by Wicked tanking it and Taps hitting it.
So where are Alliance going next? Top wave and bottom are actually pushed up very heavily in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves, way past that halfway point, and see their Alliance actually pinging back onto both of them, realizing that they're probably going to need to move away. But this move from the Copenhagen Wolves also smart, knowing top and bottom lane is where they're going to concentrate on clearing. That leaves this middle inner turret, maybe, possibly, open for the taking. They know at least that Tabs is not there.
And they also know, as you just said, the top lane is going to push all the way in here. Decides, though, to back away. Just wanted to see if Alliance had moved out to all the side lanes. Some of them were back. They might have been able to take a free tower. However, because Alliance stayed with multiple members, especially Ziggs, they could actually defend it, clear the way. So, Copenhagen Wolves tried the chances. Alliance, good response. Didn't move multiple members away from the mid lane.
Alliance, 36 minutes into this one, have the gold lead, albeit still very, very slim. I think 2,000 gold has been the biggest difference that we've seen pretty much the entire game in this one. Of course, that was for the Copenhagen Wolves. And quite a while ago by now as well. We've got 30 seconds until another dragon will be spawning into this one. No wards really down there at this stage of the game. The Wolves actually did go sniffing around, stole away a blue buff from Alliance in the process, which, you know, we may say just a blue buff at this point.
It is a big deal.
But for Froggen especially, that is an annoyance.
It's going to give all the cooldown reduction for Froggen, of course, the mana regen, so you can just spam away in the poke. It's a big deal. Take away the blue buff in Ziggs late game, and you take away a lot of his power, because he is built around just poking all the time. Get a target low, and then when a fight starts, you can just instant kill this target.
Here is the dragon spawning in. Wolves cleared out thanks to the pink ward of Nif. And there's going to be no challenge on this one. The Wolves instead are pushing top lane with Kautar and have got 4 men in the middle. They should go for this
mid tower. They can go straight towards this mid tower, tank it off with the plants from Zyra with the ghouls here from Airworks. Instead, though, they actually stay around the Wraith camp, and now the move towards it. Only Nif is there, should be able to pick this tower up for free.
The rest of the team, rather than walking back, have all recalled as well. So this is going to be a tower back for the Copenhagen Wolves. Kautar actually getting a lot of damage put onto him here by Wicked, who will ult in. That's a good knock-up. The bomb from Zig bashed away by Kautar. That was real close.
Kautar was very aggressive there around the tower of Wicked, doing a lot of damage, but actually losing the fight now to Wicked, who is so tanky at this point. Just backing away. We need to see how it goes when they fight out in the open, away from this tower here, so Kautar can go all in.
And great position to be in there for Wicked as well. You can't really make much of a mistake when you're that tanky as well. Your job to dive in and be right in their faces, force Woolite to basically back out of the fight completely. And certainly can do that with the mass tanky stats that he actually possesses at this stage of things. There's a blue buff actually coming back up, so back to what we saw in the earlier stages of this game, which was the blue buff switches between both teams. And I thought that Tabs was actually going to steal that one away, but Froggen with the satchel charge gets that one, so he's back to spamming.
Back to spamming. Youngbuck walks straight into the first one. There's about 20% of his HP, just showing the amount of damage now on Froggen with the Void Staff and Death Cap and everything. Take 1 or 2 bombs, and you're forced to actually go back to base and recall. So go back to base and heal. I mean, it means Alliance can then pressure your tower. So it could be a big issue for Copenhagen Wolves. Especially also because their engage is actually reliant on the fact that Counter can hit a knock-up and then jump in and then get the wild growth from Youngbuck. They don't have any other real engage, so it means Alliance are just safe to stay back and poke all the time.
And they are massively more tanky as well. If you look down the items in there from that, and we saw how much damage Youngbuck takes. Okay, they've got the ultimate out of their works, they've got the wild growth, which kind of throws you off a little bit in terms of tankiness, but the fact that Wicked's going to be around for days in the middle of the team, so it's not a person that you want to focus, but we've already seen Huey's doing a lot of damage already, and it looks like Alliance are going to try and bait out Baron.
Trying to bait it out. Copenhagen was like taking a very aggressive route here. It should be a fight.
Well, they missed everything, but it doesn't matter. They go straight on towards Airwax there. The grasping room's coming in, followed up by the Stranglethorn. Shook going to be the man that's focused. He goes down. Countout in there as well, but he gets the ghost that allows him to get one more kill. And the focus was on Wicked. Look how low he's gone, but he's not dead. Crucially in this, Unlimited is super low. We see Woolite is at half HP as well. Unlimited's going to be running into no man's land as Tabs does manage to land a little bit onto him. He just needs probably one more auto attack onto them, and there is the kill for Tabs. That will be a 2 for 2 actually in the end. Crucially maybe for the Copenhagen Wolves stopping Alliance. 3 for 2, sorry.
Well, so look at the fight here. Alliance was baiting out the Baron. Airworks is the guy to face check. He's forced to flash away. His ultimate is still ready, saving it. He doesn't want to use it on himself. Counter actually. Copenhagen Wolves invest so much onto Shook here. Not exactly the target you want to get. Look here, down the bottom of the screen, there's 2 squishy members doing all the damage. Wicked, because he's so tanky, actually survives, backs away. And now with everything being invested onto killing Shook, killing Nif, the carries are still left for Alliance, so they can just win the fight for them and now start the Baron once again.
Straight in there with the teleport from Wicked. There's not really anyone around there from the Copenhagen. All 3 of them are dead, of course. Still 10 seconds until Limited spawns in, and Froggen here just going to try and hold. And I say try, he's doing 30% with each one there onto Youngbuck. He's going down here. We aren't going to see Cogmore try and get in there, but Alliance get that one, and there is Youngbuck being hammered away, and Tam predicting his move correctly and finishes him off with a culling. Brilliant.
Destroyed him. Alliance just, after this Dragon fight, where Alliance killed multiple members, took the first Baron, they just never let go. They've been full control here, been sieging down towers, setting off the Baron baits, and just been playing the team fights really well. After the very first failed team fight, they really stepped it up here, playing a lot more defensive in the fights, just kiting around, cutting backwards with the squishy members, and it's working. Also because, credit to Wicked, I talked about he should have a Bloodborne King earlier, it's working for him with this full tank build. Gotta give him the credit.
Surviving that last fight, and now tanking, actually some minions that have the tank on it right now. It doesn't matter either way, it's going to go down, and the inhibitor is surely going to follow here as well. Alliance got enough damage to make sure that happens with that Baron buff on, and they're probably just going to go straight down towards this inner turret. They don't really need those minions at this point.
Could go straight forward, or could just wait for this massive wave to be pushed up with them. Youngboy is still dead, Teleport is ready, yes, so he can at least try and come out and join here, but the Lulu pick itself for him haven't actually done too much in this game, and we need to see if they can try and do something in these late game team fights and just do everything to keep Woolite alive and see how much damage he can do. If they can manage to poke Wicked before the fight starts and then start it, so he's going to be forced to back away earlier, and then Woolite can actually get towards the squishy members, and then if Kautot lands a great knockout on, let's say, Ziggs or someone like Taps, and just instant kill them. I mean, yes, Copenhagen Wolves will still have a chance in these fights, but it's going to be hard for them. Also because Alliance don't actually need to go straight in the fight. As we talked about, they can just poke.
And they got plenty of survivability on top of that. If you go for Froggen, it's on his Hourglass straight away. You've got Mikhail's Crucible, you've got the Scimitar in there as well. So
Face of the Mountain.
Yeah, Tab's going to be feeling confident even there at the front of this one, as Alliance now finally do stack up towards this bottom inner turret with the entire team now. Poke again from Froggen becomes very clear as he throws those ones straight through. Good wind wall, but it's not quite got the cooldown that they really needed to have, and there's the combo coming through. Wild Growth used by Youngbuck on himself, but it's enough damage to force them away from it completely. Meanwhile, super minions are now coming down that mid lane. This is make or break time for the Wolves.
This tower is going to go down so fast. The hook onto Unlimited.
He's dead. There's no way he's going to be able to survive that one in the end, and that is the inhibitor turret as well. Airwax actually coming around, but they're trying to focus. Wicked Shook goes into the middle as well. Woolite has now gone down. This is surely game for the for Alliance. The Copenhagen Wolves are being ripped to pieces here. Youngbuck, the only one still alive. He goes back off. into the fountain, ends up dying inside of the fountain, and Alliance gonna win the game right here. Brilliant performance.
Very, very strong performance. One team fight at the Dragon. Alliance took the kills, got the Baron, it turned the entire game around. Because Copenhagen Wolves, they were winning the split push. They were winning the team fights. Until that crucial point, they lost the fight. There were only 4 members there, mistimed everything, and Alliance took full control and just played the team fights really well afterwards. Played the map afterwards, used the very strong siege comp so perfectly, and the lack of an engage on the side of Copenhagen Wolves meant they could never do anything. Just sit back, take a bomb in your face, take another bomb in your face, and then now you're too low to even fight.
And I think Alliance have grown past that point as well, where you could afford in the spring split to make a slight mistake here or there, and especially through the Copenhagen Wolves right now. I mean, you've got 2 new players on your team. Of course, it's going to be hard for them to instantly be at the same level when it comes to coordination and teamwork and calling in terms of the fights as well. Either way, it's a great performance out of the gate from Alliance. A bit of a ropey start for them. What? They don't really care. Ropey start and still winning the game, doesn't matter.
And this is a great win where you're actually behind. I believe it was 5-1 for Copenhagen Wolves before the Dragon. Like where you're behind and you're like saying, okay, what do we do now to get back in this game? And then you manage to do it. It's a very big confidence boost. It's something you can use in the future as well when you fall behind and say, don't worry, we can still win this one. They can make a mistake. We can punish them. And overall, I mean, the comp itself for them is very standard. There's nothing special about building a combo around Zex, Lucian, and then have Shyvana to be there, either the tank or the split pusher. I mean, it's very standard comp here, so they didn't show their hand with anything. They just played it the way they should. As soon as they got the lead, gave no chance for Copenhagen Wolves with their comp, and didn't really play into the hand of Copenhagen Wolves.
I want to go back to Jungle Yorick here as well, because I had your thoughts after 30 minutes. I want it here at the end as well. We saw there that, you know, they had pretty much glass cannons across the board. Lulu didn't really have any defense there by the end. Of course, Woolite didn't really have anything. Kowtow didn't have anything to keep himself alive other than getting himself alive again from Yorick's ultimate, from the wild growth coming in. But we saw there in that last fight where they pushed him away from the bottom in a turret. Wild growth was popped instantly. They couldn't really do any. It didn't offer them enough.
They fell too far behind simply to just rely on Woolite to do all the things, and that's where Jungle Yorick, again, we talk about how it's not a pick, goes in, instantly destroys guy number 1 in the team fight and just carries the whole thing by itself. It's relying around the team, it's relying around the fact that Woolite can kill people, and then they can, once he goes down, they can ultimate him again, so he comes up again and do even more. And that's the whole comp by Copenhagen Wolves. So the pick, in the end, as soon as they fell behind, did nothing. But before they fell behind, it actually did quite a lot in the team fights. Because again, as long as you can kill targets, as long as you can survive the engage, the pick can work. But this time around, as soon as they fell behind, it did nothing.
And becomes infinitely harder once you see the Zhonyas and what have you start coming.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're never going to kill anyone. You're there.
And I think also a combo that, especially like the later it goes into the game, the more difficult it is to actually pull off, to have those big ultimates on the right targets at the right time. And this, let's not forget, is a brand new team for the Copenhagen Wolves. They've lost 2 of their most influential players, and they've got Airwax and Woolite. Whilst they've had their time here, certainly Woolite on this stage, they've had their time in Challenger as well. They've never been quite at this level where the pressure is all on them.
Yeah, and one mistake, you get punished for it. And also, you just talked about how the ultimates were so important for Copenhagen Wolves. Every single one of their members, except for the Cockmore, the ultimate was key. Like, if you missed this one, it was on cooldown before the fight started, all of a sudden you were in a big disadvantage. If you didn't have the ultimate from Syra to disengage, you didn't have the Wild Growth, you didn't have the Yorick ult, something, your whole comp wouldn't actually work together. So what Alliance could do was start a fight, bait one out, wait, and then go back in. And then there was nothing Copenhagen Wolves could respond with. So they were just so aligned on the perfect team fight, which again meant as soon as they fell behind or went even in gold, Alliance with their more standard comps was stronger.
Well, great start to the Season 4 Alliance, and we have Shox and Quickshot standing by with Froggen from Alliance. So let's send it over to them.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, joined by Frog, and of course also the captain from Team Ice, straight from All-Star, coming here and getting a victory for Alliance. That's already better than the beginning of last split. Very good for you guys. Tell us about picks and bans, because the Copenhagen Wolves, they had a plan.
Yeah, I think it was very key for us to wait with the mid pick to the very last pick when we saw what comp they had. Because if we had went with more an assassin pick or something, we would have get screwed over because of the Kog'Maw pick, which is really strong together with the Yorick. So we wanted something that could just blow them up in team fights and match them equally, because Yasuo is a really strong split pusher and stronger than Shyvana when he gets more items. So it's very key for us to actually be able to win the team fights and be able to siege, and that's why we last picked the 6.
So it definitely worked out in the end, but it took an incredibly long time to get there. Talk me through the first 20 minutes of the game. It felt like the Wolves were just one step ahead of Alliance. They had a fairly sizable gold lead, and they seemed to push around the map. What was going on?
Yeah, I think our biggest mistake there was we let them push in order for us just to farm up, and then we want to dive the Lulu once he gets back. And that way we can deny a lot of experience compared to them just getting a lot of global gold, which we think is worth more, because 6 can just wave clear in the mid. You don't necessarily need to just push down the turrets and then group, because you can't wave clear alone, but 6 can do that. So if we managed to dive the Lulu top, I think we would have gotten out ahead, but we didn't manage to do that, and they got really far ahead because of that, and they got all the vision control in the game, and that's why it dragged out.
Well, you guys did transition very well into the mid game, taking control of those dragons and towers, but then at the very first big team fight of the game, you actually didn't do that well when you tried and dive the tower. We actually have a replay to illustrate that, if we can pull that up on our screen, because a little bit of a misjudgment there if you could dive the tower or not.
Yes, I want to pick your brain about what was going on, because it was very clear that you wanted to dive the Copenhagen Wolves. So let's roll this clip out and explain what was happening, the team decisions, etc.
Yeah, so before even this happens, we wanted Wicked to move down so we could dive, because we know Yorick is getting low and we know everybody wasn't there from Copenhagen Wolves. So we would manage to dive them there before the Yasuo got back, but it fails, and our Moon, because we don't pick up a kill, so I don't get my mana back from Athene's Unholy Grail, and that allows them to hunt us down all the way and eventually win the team fight, which was really poorly played from us. But if we managed to get one kill, so I could get either kill or assist, so I could get some mana back, it would have turned out differently.
It felt like you kind of went in somewhat disjointed. Wicked went in quite early, Shook was by himself a little bit. Was that just a little bit of confusion in the calling, or was that somebody pulling the trigger too early?
I'm not exactly sure what happens behind the tower, because I'm more focused on the backline. So what they're doing is like they're trying to keep their backline busy, or trying to get the kills that's pulling, like they're trying to hold their the enemy backline busy so we can do our work and kill them faster. And I'm just there to protect taps and do a lot of damage to Yasuo and the other melee champions, which 6 is really good at. So I'm not exactly sure what went on there.
Can you maybe shine a light on the revamped Copenhagen Wolves? You, of course, played against them in their own lineup 4 times in the last split. And then here, with the new AD carry, Willett, and the new jungler, Airwax, did you feel a great difference in the way they played the map as to their
I think they
split?
played the map the exact same way in the old Copenhagen Wolves. I don't think Amazing and Forgiven had that much map, like rotations and stuff. I don't think they were like the decisive ones there. I think like the Yorick pick coming in for Airwax, he obviously has been playing it a lot, and that's a new pick they got instead for Amazing, and they tried to make it work out with the Kog'Maw pick as well. I think Woolite likes hyper carries like Twitch and Kog'Maw, so I think they made it work really well together and tried to plan a tactic around it.
Well, it definitely appeared to work for a while. Wasn't enough to pick up a victory for yourself and Alliance, against rather you guys. First victory of the split. Eyes are definitely on World Championships. Towards the end of the splits and playoffs, Alliance was looking great, fell off a little bit in the playoff bracket. How are you guys going to be treating the rest of the games, as we know you personally definitely want to make it to Worlds?
I think all of us really wants to make it to Worlds. It's a really huge deal for us, and we're all doing our best to actually get there. And obviously everybody practice more than in spring season, because it's closer to Worlds, so you don't get burned out from like practicing really hard now rather than practicing 4 months really hard. So we're going to take it very seriously.
Can you shine a light on the competition here with the changes coming in? Is there one team that you are more
afraid of?
Afraid of, that was what I was looking for, than the
I
other
think
teams coming in?
Last season, SK did surprisingly well, better than anyone else expected, just because of their rotations and the map decisions. They're really decisive and they play the map out well. They don't rely that much on individual skill, which is uncommon for an EU team. So I think they might actually be the hardest team to beat.
Wow, well, very interesting. Congratulations on that first victory of the season for you, Frog. And we need to head back to base, but we'll be returning with Millennium battling the super hot crew. Stay with us as the action continues.
Okay, they like our picks.
That's the first plan. We get all the crowd. So we pick something
That's
fun.
the way to win.
Have a bit of a poke, see what I can do. Walleye got out of position, play into the box as well. And a hook landed. Walleye's going to go down. Managing to stay alive and then turning it around. They're going to go for shot. Wild Grub used. Carton gets himself one. Wicked is still very low. And there is the ultimate. Walleye has now gone down. This is surely game for the for Alliance. The Copenhagen Wolves are being ripped to pieces here.